Okay, comic 82. Look at me using my, no, I think is that Courier New? I'm going to assume so. Look at my drawing in of tick, 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 tack, tick, tack, tick. That's him typing along. So you can imagine this is very much the, oh, what's that intro that they used to use where the person would type and then they'd fling the bit of paper and the bit of paper would, oh, I can't remember now. Anyway, to all staff, I am now taking an interest in all facets of this theater's functionality. I therefore request complete operating instructions for every piece of equipment used by each employee. This includes any power doors, light switches, or hula hoops you use in your daily chores. Please send me a list of these instructions as soon as possible. PP, and then some sort of weird sort of ink spatter. Jeff, how do you make this thing not be stupid? Now, I don't know if that's a thing that just I did, was where because this was before backspace, is if you just go back, because I had a typewriter. We had an electric typewriter though, and it had this erase ribbon where it would remember what you'd just done, and it would go backwards and sort of print over it, or just sort of, I don't know specifically how it worked. The backspace key on an electric typewriter, that's just what it did. So, but before then, you just go backwards and just type over what you'd written with X's. You just cover X, 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 you know, because that means this is crossed out, this isn't actually here. Because if you look at it, that's it sort of combined over of him trying to spell possible wrong. And then, and apparently the ink ribbon started smudging or explode. I don't quite know what happened there. I didn't bother with a talk line. Ooh, in fact, if you look in the third panel, I forgot the talk line for Mr. Grieber entirely. But there was no talk line coming from the typewriter, because you just had to assume that's that's what the typewriter is doing. I've also just noticed that his ear is visible in panel 2 but not in 1 or 3. And his forward-facing head tuft is still not in the forward-facing line. So, errors we notice. Forgot his ears in 1 and 3, forgot the talk line. Don't think I made too many spelling mistakes. Facets, pretty sure I used facets properly, even though I don't quite know how to use facets properly, so I can't be sure. I'm kind of happy with my rather non-sharp-edged typewriter, as you can see, especially from the profile. There's just, you know, one from the front, one from the side. There we go. I like the pictures of him typing. It seems obvious that he is typing, right? Yeah, and then it's him relying on Jeff to make this thing not be stupid. Valid request. Technology. I can't say I've ever actually said things like that, but so yeah, I guess it's just a continuation of the story where Mr. Grieber is trying to involve himself or learn how everything works. So this is him saying, "Everyone, tell me how everything works. Complete operating instructions for every piece of equipment used by every employee. This includes power doors, which you've already seen you can't work, light switches, is kind of funny, or hula hoops." Now, of course, hula hoops comes back to that, I think, it's sort of a standard form of, well, not a standard, but it was used quite a bit sort of in the 80s and 90s, where whenever you talk about, oh, you young kids today with your, and invariably there's always a mention of hula hoops. Because apparently that's just what everyone said back in like the 60s and 70s when hula hoops were huge. They said, oh, I don't get these young kids today with their hula hoops. So Mr. Grieber doesn't get the kids today with their hula hoops. So much so that he thinks they actually use them at work. Anywho. So I guess we've got to move on to Comic 83 tomorrow.